we know Trinidad and Tobago, we love Trinidad and Tobago. Before Trinidad and Tobago, the land was called Airi. But was there something before that? Let's find out this morning as we chat with the Business Development and Marketing Coordinator of the National Trust of Trinidad and Tobago, Graham Sweet, as well as biologist Dr. Ryan Mohammed. Good morning, gentlemen. Welcome to the Now Morning Show.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
All right, so I want to start with you, Dr. Mohammed. We're talking about Trinidad Ice Age. There's a fossil workshop that's happening, but I want to know what was there before Airi? Before there was Airi Trinidad, what came before that? How do we find out that information?
Okay, so the easiest way to find out that information is through our paleontological records, our geological records. You get a better time scale for that. Trinidad is about more than 20,000 years old, but Trinidad as an island is a little bit less than 20,000 years old.
All right, and we have proof of this based on fossils, you're saying?
Yeah, so the proof is in the rocks. Our geology is very similar to that of the northern part of Venezuela, but also if you look at our fossil records, our fauna that was associated with Trinidad back in the Ice Age 20,000 years ago is very similar to that of South America. And one of our most recent publications show that particularly with some of the large animals, the giants, not necessarily the dinosaurs, but some of our large mammals definitely were in common with South America.
Well, that's very interesting. Graham Sweet, talk to me about this workshop that you guys are having at the National Trust.
Sure. So the underlying purpose of the workshop really is to engender greater interest in this type of study. Through our collaboration with Dr. Mohammed, we got an understanding that since the 1920s, fossils have been discovered in Trinidad during different types of exploration, but had to leave the country for the purposes of analysis. That capacity didn't exist locally. So the purpose of the workshop now, the primary purpose of the workshop now is initially to kick off a process by which we begin to build the local capacity for fossil exploration, curation, etc.
Analysis as well?
So the workshop is being done in collaboration with the Labrador Tar Pit and Museum.
Okay.
And through that participation in that workshop, people will get an opportunity to learn what it is like to actually conduct the dig, how are fossils excavated, prepared, how they are handled in a controlled environment. The idea being to create a cadre of persons, or sow the seed for creating a cadre of persons who begin to build and broaden the country's capacity for doing that type of stuff so that it doesn't have to be handled by overseas parties.
Okay. Dr. Mohammed, how do we begin to know where to dig, where to go looking for these fossils?
Okay, so that's a great question. So in the past, I think everyone that ever went to a Pitch Lake tour with one of these tour guides will hear of these giants that roamed. The truth is the Pitch Lake is probably not the best place to look for fossils because of the texture of the pitch. It's way too hard to dig to look for fossils. But we have other sites that might have similar constituents in rock formations, hydrocarbon base, might be conducive for digging. And we see this in other areas in South Trinidad. South Trinidad, we have several sites, Forest Reserve and in Marak Forest, etc., that they have similar geology to that of the north part of Venezuela. So, and these places in the past have already yielded fossils based on the oil exploration in 1920s.
Okay.
But we also have on our coastlines remnants of fossils, but from a different geological timeline.
What? So we have a lot of different times that we can find pieces of, well, from, right? Is what you're saying, essentially. And talk to me about the analysis of these. Mr. Sweet, are we now going to have the capacity to analyze them as well, or are we just going to build capacity to find them?
So the long-term goal of the National Trust, because under the National Trust Act, the protection of fossil records is also a part of our important historical heritage, tangible heritage. So the workshop is just the initial phase. In the longer term, we propose to actually do a dig next year, August, and then beyond that, begin to build capacity in terms of setting up the framework for managing how this is done in Trinidad, which would include encouraging scholarships and bursaries for students studying areas relevant to this ongoing exploration. So the workshop is just the forerunner to a bigger program for building capacity on the academic and the practical side for doing exploration and curation.
All right, fantastic. How can people who are interested enroll to be a part of the workshop?
Yeah, sure. So they can visit the National Trust website, nationaltrust.tt, and they can log in there to register enrollment in the workshop. The workshop takes place over 2 days, Friday the 27th and Saturday the 28th of August, but not the entire day. It's a 2-hour period each day from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. And we will have a blended presentation. So some of it will be live presentations from staff at the Library Tar Pit Museum in Los Angeles, California, and Dr. Mohammed himself. And then some would be pre-recorded video presentations of some aspects of it. So there's a blended treatment for the presentation of the workshop. They will also have the opportunity for questions and answers afterwards. And more importantly, all the participants will get certificates of participation or completion, and they become eligible to actually take part in the dig that is being planned for the first quarter of 2022.
I thought you said next year, August. How many digs you having? Dr. Mohammed, your mic is muted. We're not hearing you.
Number of digs we have is directly proportional to resources, time and money.
Okay.
At first we would like to have at least one round of excavations sometime next year, as long as COVID will allow.
Right.
This was so originally happened about a year ago. So it'll be one around the forest reserve area, and we put in logistics in place for that.
Fantastic.
A dig might last anything between a week to 2 weeks, depending again on resources, weather as well.
Okay. Well, guys, head across to the National Trust website and sign up for this, enroll in this workshop. I think it's definitely going to be worth your time. It's only 4 hours you're going to spend learning a lot that you need to know about being a part of this process. So I want to thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this morning, Graham Sweet and Dr. Ryan Mohammed, and congratulations on all the work so far, and good luck going forward.
Thank you. And I really want to say, these fossils are part of Trinidad's heritage. So we really, and considering we at our Independence Weekend, it's fitting that we have these fossils as being repatriated from museums and collections all around the world. They return to Trinidad as part of our heritage. So we should celebrate this.
Definitely. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, gentlemen.